Mbappe out? I don't know. Maybe, but I would say that I have doubts about that.
If it comes off, you're a genius. But if it doesn't come off, if you take Mbappe off and you lose the game...
But he's walking.
Yeah.
Deschamps is walking anyway.
Yeah, true. But he goes with a lot of stick flying.
Well, I know, but as you said, they have, if it comes off, and listen, this is all hypothetical.
I'm going to take him off for the last 20 minutes. We're controlling the game. We're winning the game. I'll take him off. So he can say, well, I've taken him off every so often. I don't always play him.
Yeah.
But when they're losing and they're down, he'll keep him on the pitch.
You don't see...
No, not at all. I think Didier Deschamps will make every adjustment he possibly can, including Kylian Mbappe, whether it's taking other people around, whether it's changing the formation. I just do not see Kylian Mbappe being substituted.
Has Didier Deschamps come that big moment, be it a final or a semi, whatever it is, and Mbappe's the guy who's underperforming, bearing in mind the talent pool that France have, which is immense in the forward areas, does he have the gumption to make that big call?
We'll carry on the conversation that we had on yesterday's show. Is Kylian Mbappe a player that it is impossible to bring off no matter what the situation? This is a man who, of course, won the World Cup in 2018, 2022, such a big part of that final defeat against Argentina. Julian Laurent is in New York for us throughout the tournament. We'll hear from Jules in a moment, but I want to go with you, the obvious question. Is Kylian Mbappe someone who you can never substitute?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, you cannot substitute Kylian Mbappe because even Kylian Mbappe at 70, 75% or whatever has an issue mentally, physically, whatever it has. There comes minute 88 and there comes a half a goal scoring chance. Kylian Mbappe will put it in. There comes a penalty. You go to the penalty. No, if you have a player of his quality, this exceptional quality, then you got to go through him with... through pain as well. He has bad moments. He has maybe a fight. There might be some issues. But you got to stick to him because, he made you already win a World Cup and almost a second one. And I'm not saying he has a right now to do whatever he wants to do. But the quality of Kylian Mbappe there's no doubt about it. And I take him every second of the game. And because I know he can change me that game like he did.
Way on the left-hand side.
And I just asked the question yesterday because the reason I brought that up was because they have got such an amazing talent pool of game changers. Not just him. He's the sort of kingpin. But they have some wonderful talent. And it was just a question that could that scenario come around? And as the boys have said, they think it's unlikely. And I think he knows that. And I think it's one of the reasons he pretty much does what he wants, even in a French jersey. Why he walks about, why he doesn't close down, because he knows he's pretty untouchable. But he was also the reason they got back into the World Cup final, but he was part of the reason they were in the scenario that they were in. Because he refused to track back early on playing on that left-hand side. And Didier Deschamps had to make a decision and put him through the middle and take Olivier Giroud off.
The last World Cup final, he changes it within a few minutes. And that's why I'm sure that his teammates know that. Didier Deschamps is so experienced, went through so much with him, up and downs, but more ups than downs, obviously. That's why I think he's, in a certain way, you can say he's untouchable.
Jules, what's the narrative around Mbappe?
I think Jurgen is right. I think he's undroppable. I don't think you can take him off for the last 5 minutes if he's already scored or something like that. If you've won the game already, sure. Not starting him is impossible if he's fit. Taking him off early after an hour or 65 minutes, Deschamps will never do that. Because like Jurgen said, he knows that out of nothing, Kylian can do something special, can score a goal. You can go for Marcus Thuram. Again, different profile and certainly not the same level right now. So the answer is pretty easy, I think. The most interesting thing for me is who you play around him. What's the rest of the cast in that front four that we see now? Because we expect the front four that started yesterday against Northern Ireland to be the one that will start against Senegal here next week. So Doué on the left, Dembélé probably centrally now, and Olise on the right. I think you need a striker on that left-hand side like Marcus Thuram. He would have been a kitty if he hadn't got injured. But Thuram to complement Mbappe better when Mbappe drops, when we know that he likes to do his own thing, really. He's got that kind of freedom. If you have Doué there, Doué stays on that left-hand side, and then there's nobody attacking the defensive line of the opposition in the box. Whereas if you have Thuram on the left-hand side, he will come inside when Mbappe drops. And I think that's a much better balance of a front four than if you have
the rest of the players that are surrounding him that could come on and do wonderful things. And sometimes that can be a dangerous place to be when you know you're in that position.
Again, to Robbo's point, Deschamps knows that he's leaving at the end of this tournament. He thinks he can just do what he wants. Surely as a manager you can do that anyway. Robbo's talking nonsense, isn't he?
No, he's totally right. You know, he has to obviously, knowing that he will lead in the team. He's done a fantastic job with that French team over the years. He won everything you can win, and yes, he definitely has the leverage to do whatever he would like to do. But Didier knows too that a happy, a fully energized Kylian Mbappe can make you a difference every single day in every single game. And so you find ways there to work with Kylian. You know, it's a lot of work on the side, you know, to communicate with the guys to make sure there is a balance. Also to make sure that the hierarchy of the team is functioning. And it's not only the manager.
He was cannon fodder in a World Cup final in the first half because the star man wouldn't run around. So it sort of works both ways. Yeah, he can do the amazing stuff and he can get you back in a game, but he can be part of the problem of why you're in that scenario in the first place. But I do agree. I don't think he will ever, he will unlikely be the one he certainly won't be dropped, but I think it's unlikely he'll be taken off in a game. But there's others in that French team that can do brilliant stuff and change a game. So I think he has to be on his toes a little bit, but I think he knows under Deschamps that it is very unlikely that even if he's having his worst game, that Didier Deschamps is going to take him off. Even
fitness coming here to the US. I mean, the French are traveling tomorrow to Boston from Paris. He missed the game against Ivory Coast, only played the first half yesterday against Northern Ireland because of the back issues that he's had with Arsenal for the last few weeks now. And there was a point where there was quite a lot of skepticism around Saliba, even about just playing being here at the World Cup, playing. Now he feels better, so it will be them too. We saw Upamecano making a couple of mistakes in the two friendlies, which is not really reassuring. But he's also had a great season with Bayern. Like Saliba had a great season with Arsenal. So they're the two starters without a doubt. I don't think there's a debate even in Deschamps' mind. But then after that, it's Lacroix, Konate for the third man if you want. But Lacroix came on at halftime for Saliba yesterday, not Konate, which maybe is a bit of an indication that Lacroix might be the third guy in the pecking order.
His job, you know, to keep that in balance, the hierarchy. It's the players' job too. The players, if they are really a team, there are some other experienced players in that French side. They can also go to Kylian and tell him, listen, you know, we think this and this and this. You know, you want to have a discussion with you about certain things. You know, so the really big teams, they kind of manage themselves. Yes, the manager is important, the coach is important, but it is important that every player knows where his spot is, how far he can take it, you know, what the hierarchy looks like. And that's why I think, you know, it's more important that these players, nowadays it's 26 players that go, you know, into that roster to a World Cup, that they figure certain things out themselves.
Jules, how responsive would
connection between everybody out of possession, probably more than in possession anyway. And what do you do with Kylian, knowing that obviously you defend with 10 because Kylian is not going to do much defending, which he didn't do in the last World Cup or in the World Cup before even.
But look, Jules, we know the French are a great side. There's no doubt about that. And along with Spain are definitely the favourites. This Kylian Mbappe thing's a bit of a sideshow because they've got so much talent. It may be a talking point, it may not. I'm looking at France and saying, what's the centre-half pairing? I know this is a little boring, but what's the centre... Because I think this is the biggest worry for France. What is the centre-half pairing going to be? And what is the best pairing that you would select? And what do you think Didier Deschamps will do?
It would be Saliba and Upamecano, Craig, especially if Saliba is fit. And there was obviously a bit of a question mark over
Kylian Mbappe, or has Kylian Mbappe been in the past when he's had teammates make that sort of approach, if indeed they have?
Yeah, they have. We've seen it even kind of recently after that defeat against Italy, after the Euros 2024 at the Parc des Princes, where Mike Maignan was very angry against Mbappe for, let's say, the lack of effort defensively, especially that Kylian showed, and a bit like what Craig was saying earlier, which we saw a little bit again yesterday and in the defeat against Ivory Coast as well a few days ago. So I think somebody like Dembele can say to Kylian, listen, we need you to do a bit more here. We need you to lead the line, and you don't have to press like crazy like I do in Paris, for example. But we need to work together to make sure that Deschamps is well aware of that. And Deschamps' job in here, more than anything else, really, we'll have to find that kind of right